Hello YouTube, Damo_23 here, and welcome back to episode 95 of the Paris 13 Atletico save, where we look to do it better than PSG. In today's episode of Non-League to Legend, we have got obviously the season 11 start, where we look to sign some players at the back, because if you did not watch last episode, our defence has cost us a title. With 3 games to go, we needed to win all 3 to win the titles. We were ahead of PSG. We drew 4-4-1. We lost the other to OJ Nice, where we got absolutely FM'd. And to make matters worse, PSG on the final day lost to last place Aurier 1-0, which means when we won on the final day, we lost by a point instead of 3 or 4. With that being said, the big news is PSG actually have won the Champions League final 2-1 over Inter, which means we finally have a French winner in the save. It's only taken them 10 seasons. In a decade where we could have celebrated being the new champions of France, instead PSG celebrate a famous treble. With that being said, I think the first thing we need to do is check Mourinho's contract, because I do believe it is running out shortly. No, they've renewed it. Okay. It was running out. Second thing that we need to talk about here as well is what to expect in this episode. We need to make signings. However, we have a financial issue. We also have a new stadium to speak about. And we have made one sale, one signing already that we have to speak about as well. With that being said, though, we are going to start with the big news. That is, if you go to Club Vision, you go to the board and board profile, they are building a new stadium. It's a 29,000-seater stadium. They got a massive loan for that. So if you go to our finances here, which leads me into that, and you go to loans, debts and loans, we do have a loan there from the bank that we're paying 38 mil on to build a new stadium. And we paid a bit of that out of our finances as well. With that being said, at one stage we were at 83 mil, approaching the 90 mil bracket, down to 27, have a transfer budget of 15, which after spending some of that money, I had to sell some clauses on. There is good news though, however, we do, if we go to one of our clauses here, and Isaias, wherever he is, if you remember him from Spurs, that we sold to Spurs, he's currently wanted, we sold him for 31 mil. He's currently wanted, and it looks like he wants to leave to go to Bayern Munich, Atletico, or watching Gladbach. Hopefully Bayern go crazy and offer something like 50 to 60 mil, because we get 50% of that. That would be quite nice. With that being said, though, we do have to speak about the finances themselves. We're at the stage of the save where we've spent big, we've gone for the title, we haven't quite got there, and we're at that stage where look, if we're in Germany, there's a different story because there's so much money. And if you're in England, the TV revenue kind of helps you out if you're a consistent top 4 side, because the money's really good. In France, you only get 16 mil for finishing second in the league. You get about 20 for winning it. Not much money. Secondly, you don't get much money for TV revenue. It's about 10 to 15 mil. Thirdly, we're not like PSG, who should make it to the semi-final final of the Champions League every year. We're just not at that level yet, hence why we haven't been able to top them in the league in 10 seasons. And it means that financially, we're not making enough money to meet our expectation in terms of wage. You know, we're expecting $60 to $70 million in wage. You have a look at the expenditure here in wage, player wages here. You have a look at last season, right? Apart from ground maintenance, because we are starting to spend on ground maintenance. There we go. Player wages, 55 mil. There is a big chunk of your money going out the club, which means signing world-class players for the last 2 years, where our club has been very close, this close to winning the title. To sign world-class players has been very difficult, if not non-apparent, hence why we've gone for the likes of Demirel, Tosin, etc. And yes, we did have one good year of Kim keeping, the clean sheet award. The following season, we've conceded 36 and 34. We played every league game. And when we're conceding more than a goal a game, it's not good for a side that's trying to fight PSG, who are the best team in France and the best team in Europe because they just won the Champions League. So with that being said, we've had to make some sales. We've had to bring some people in, especially at the back. We're going to talk about a couple right now and then let you know what the plan is moving forward. Firstly, transfer history rise. We've had a bid in from Inakate, which he's rejected the contract. Mendy's decided to retire instead of taking this. We do have Nkuku coming as well. This may be a bad signing. I signed him at a time where I was definitely going to get rid of, Miller Stoop and maybe loaning out Bessett. We then obviously signed Finnison. Since then, Bessett's played in the middle and he's looked really good. Maybe Nkuku's one that maybe we didn't need to pick up. It's only a 1-year deal. It's only on 50k a week, so we should be able to live with it. With that being said, though, we have made a sale straight off the bat. Here he is, Demirel. We actually made profit on 2.8 mil. Listed him out for free at 3.5. It was on 100k a week. With my new signing coming in, I needed to make some of the money I paid up front for him back. Secondly, I needed to get some wage off because he's on big money and he's not been good enough. He's made a lot of mistakes. It's just the pace, really. He gets beat over the top too easy. Hopefully he has a good career. He's still apparently an elite centre-back. I don't think he is anymore. Does have good jumping reach, but for us, he just kept getting beat. And apparently he's consistent. He was consistently horrid. But he's gone to Wolves. They're paying a big chunk of his wage. I'm happy to get rid of him for 3.5 mil. On the other go, though, as well, we have made a new signing at centre-back, and his name's Tariq. He's a 34 capped Turkish international, and it's one of the reasons why I think we had a pretty poor year this year defensively, is we have Inakata at 36, Tosin at 33, Demaru at 34, whatever he is there. Tariq's 24, moving into his prime. Inguez is younger, moving into his prime. Cicelo is the club captain at 19/20. To get a guy in like this is absolutely immense. You have a look at his physicals. Bar one, they're 15 plus. He's already got the big three, 15 headering, 16 tackling. The marking will get the 15 at some point, playing in the top flight here, week in, week out. Here, he's also got very good positioning. He's also got great anticipation and bravery. And we will train the rest over time. He comes from a HSV side that have a lot of money. And this was his partner in crime, who I would love, but Man United are probably going to pick him up for about 50 mil. It's now Aston Villa, who have been bought out by a tycoon on this save. But yeah, they finished 6th last year, and HSV have been one of the big growing sides in Germany. So to pick up their best centre-back, or one of their best centre-backs, is huge, which means the team looks like this. Important to note, Inguez is wanted by half of Europe. I'm not selling. He doesn't have a release fee in there. He's here for at least another 3 years. So unless someone gives me 150 mil plus, which, the game's stupid enough that Man United might do that because he's elite. Unless it's 150 mil plus, he's staying, right? But if with Tariq in there at 3-star and him being a leading player, judging by the coach report, and Inguez and Cicelo, I've already got 3 of a back 4 on paper with a keeper that's growing and in very good form. We know what he's capable of. I wouldn't say very good form, sorry, but we know what he's capable of. That's not bad, and it leaves us in a position where Davy is going back on loan to FCSM. I will touch on the young players at the end of this part here as well. Look, that's 3 of the 4. That's really good. Followed up by the fact that Ravella on his day is fantastic. He's wanted by Parma unless they offer me big money. You've got Luis Fernando, who's wanted by Villarreal. We're going to hold him. You've got Bakayoko, who I'll talk about in a second. Maxine, who's at 3-star, but we know he can be 4-star. Makoku's just signed a new deal to end all this transfer speculation. We've got 3 to 4 guys in here that are fantastic. We've got 2 guys with a third that is going to be emerging. I'm very happy with that, with Davey being at right back for the foreseeable future until we sign one. We're in a good spot where if we can find a right back, even though we've got no money, we're great. Or we find a centre back and move Inguez back to right back, so be it, because that's where he plays for Argentina mostly. And then we've got that back 4 that can challenge PSG, because that was the only thing lacking from us winning the title. Lastly, I'm going to speak about a couple of the young kids that have been on loan. Firstly, Davey. Loaned him out because he'd done so well as an under-19 kid here. And then from here, FCSM on loan, one of their best players, nailed on. We're going to loan him back. He's grown into a fantastic player. Important to note that potential that you see on the screen, 3-star, if he hits that, he's a leading player for League One, which means we've got someone coming through our intake that is very good. He's been here for a while. He's physically a monster, mentally very good, and expect to see this guy in the future. So if we sign a right back, Pimbele, maybe when he gets to 31, 32, we can ship off and use Davey as the backup. Same way we're doing this for Pennon. We brought in Mendy so this guy could loan out. We're going to bring him in. Next year's going to be his first year here at the football club. Marking, tackling and crossing at a decent level for an 18-year-old. He's also got good determination, but that has dropped because he's been at a club that's very less determined. But he's physically been very good, very well-rounded. He's also 6 foot plus. Had a pretty good time playing 30 games out of the 34 in the French 3rd division. 6'3", can deal with backstick crosses. He's very well-rounded. When he comes in here, we'll train him physically and get him up to standard. If he hits his potential, he's like Diallo, good to leading. I'm happy with that. That's a very good player to use. And then lastly, it's Murat Katkar, because the game's definitely stuffed up with this potential. Firstly, physically, a monster as a ball-winning midfielder. A lot of 15s, a couple of 13s, apart from the jumping reach, he's fantastic. Natural tackler, can mark, decent positioning, good work rate, and determined. It's about what you want in a ball-winning midfielder / DM. That is someone that I'm going to win the ball back, I'm determined to win the ball back, and I'm actually quite physical in what I do to get the ball back, and he's actually pretty strong for a young kid. Player of the year in a team that got relegated, went to EA Guniap, and if you have a look at them at the minute, he is their best player. I'm almost tempted to bring him back. Now, I'm going to bring him back because I want him to get loaned to a League One side, because he's at a League One level, because I want to see what he does with 1 year of growth. Salama, still here. But Salama's worth 20 to 25 mil. Someone gives me 25 mil. I would be crazy to not sell this guy and then use Capker and see how well he develops for a season or two. Because at 20, he's come through our own academy. He's homegrown. In the Champions League, you register him. He's perfect. I'm very tempted by that. And that could be a very, very good move because at the minimum, he develops a little bit. We sell him on for 5, 6, 7 mil. This guy should be cut for Turkey, which is very good as well. And then, that leaves us in a position where we can loan out Stupa. Bessett's wanted by a whole heap of clubs. Maybe with Nkuku coming in, we just cut our loss. But I actually think he's been okay. So, with that being said, and he's homegrown, maybe we loan him out for a year while Nkuku's here and then bring Bessett back after a year. They're all the options. But in terms of the squad and in terms of how we look, that's the end of this first part of this episode. Team's in good spot. We need a right back or a centre back. It's either a centre back to move Inguez to right back, or it is a right back so Inguez stays next to Cicelo, where he plays alongside in Argentina when he's not playing right back because he switches between the two. Going forward in the midfield, Canna's good, Ravella's good, Fernando's is fantastic, Bakayoko's fantastic, Chevalera's fantastic, Makoki's fantastic. If you have a look at that backup team, if Beto stays, because I might sell him, is fine. Dosu's great. Vincent's a world-class wonder kid coming through. Melba Lai. Salama's there. Nkuku's where Matt Katko would be. Matt Katko could be where Salama is. Pennon, Diallo is cheap enough for me to keep, even though he will still want to be a star player. He's only on 18k a week. Where Tossin's got interest. If I sign another centre-back, there's a world where even my favourite player to use on FM of all time, Tossin, who's been one of my favourite centre-backs on every game, has not been that good in this save for us last year. That to get rid of the 60k a week off the wage, which he still averages 7, just feel like he got beat a lot. He may go for 2 mil. And then with that as well, you might see hopefully some wage out, some money in, and enough to fund for a world-class right back or world-class centre-back. So then we can finally have a starting 11 that can go and win 34 games out of 34, because that's probably what's needed to beat PSG in this save. See you guys when we're live on stream. If you enjoyed this little recap, links down below. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And when we come back in this episode, it will be to either talk about a right back or a centre back that we found that we're looking to sign at the back to strengthen a 4 that I want to see can see nothing more than 20 goals next season. YouTube, if we're here and it's June still, it means we found someone in the scouting process. We've actually found 2 guys we're speaking about here today, and it's either to do with either a right back Inguez or a centre back Inguez. It could go this way or it can go that way. I'm not too sure. Important to note with Inguez, by the way, before we go into who we're looking at, look at Argentina using him through the Copa America. Wing back, centre back against Brazil and Uruguay, the 2 biggest games, and wing back, right? It's telling you that they're predominantly using him at right back, but we'll use him at centre back. I like him at centre back because it hides the crossing ability, but we don't play with a natural bombing on right back when he plays right back. When it's just a right back that sits there on support and distributes the ball with the occasional cross, he's actually very good at what he does. So with that being said, and he stays back at all time, which really allows the seller to really go on, I think Hector Inguez is very good at right back as well. Which leads me to have a chat. We have made a bid for a player, but he's not on that screen, which is good. I'm actually going to go to my scouting, and I'm going to go and bring up 2 players here for you in my shortlist. Firstly, I'm going to bring up the guy we did not go for, but I was very close to going for because I've had a chat with my Twitch stream, links down below if you want to come see us live, look, at right back before we talk about Maximiliano and Jackal, Livramento I want 44 mil. Guyan Kuto I want 30 mil. Neko Williams I could technically would be happy with 37 mil because he's developed well. Tariq Lamptey and Sergio Dest, both are not bad. 30 and 25 mil. Don't have that money, right? Got 18 mil and then bugger a wage, and we know how tight the money is at the club because I've already explained it. Maximilian Jackal has already been capped 3 times by Argentina at 18. Austria at 18. What I love about him, natural leader, great positioning, passing, tackling. Reminds you a little bit of a Inguez. Good anticipation, bravery. He's physically well-rounded. The one things we don't like is to be a player right now, to win me the league, he's not there yet. To be a player in 3 years' time when he's 21 and he's developed like Inguez Cicelo, this guy could be a world beater at right back. Given. Thing is, at right back, right, we've got Inguez that can play there. We've got Pembele that can play there. So instead of him starting and developing, he will be, there will be times where if he doesn't start well, we're going to play Inguez at right back and play another centre back like Diallo or Tossin or, whatever, right? There. Second thing, right, about that as well is we've been this close to winning the league. Can I carry an 18-year-old to win the league? Maybe, because Tariq and Inguez are very good at centre-back. It's close. Then we have a look at the guy we've put the bid in for. Then we have a look. His name is Francisco Piquin. He's Brazilian. He is a guy that is also South American, which will fit the theme of the back four. He's a centre-back by trade. Could play right-back as well, but would play him at centre-back. There's reasons why we like him. Firstly, heading, unbelievable. Tackling, unbelievable. Positioning and marking are easy enough to grow with decision-making, so we can get them up. He's also only 21. So where Jackal was 18 and will become homegrown, where that was a premium, we know we have Davey eventually coming in. We know we have Perrin coming in. We know Cicelo and Inguez are actually turning homegrown this year. Stuper and Bessa, as much as they turn homegrown this year, we're loaning them out, more than likely. They'll be homegrown in the future. Where a couple years ago, homegrown players were, or guys that could become homegrown were a priority, we've got them in abundance to an extent where it's not too bad now. So the 18-year-old to make them homegrown goes out the window slightly. Saying that though, Piquin, good marking, good positioning, good decisions that will go up. More importantly, as a centre-back, right? He's got aggression, anticipation, bravery, and concentration like no tomorrow. Also naturally determined. He's also 6'6" with 18 jumping reach and 18 natural fitness, which means he's always there. He's also got 14 strength and stamina, which will grow to 15 over time, playing in the top flight. And he's also coming from AC Milan, who spent 13 mil from taking him from SPO, where he was okay first team regular, but not great. Milan's only played him 3 starts, 16 off the bench, only had a 6.78, and they said, nah, we're going to sell you. 13.75 mil up front for a guy that's wanted, and there's no guarantee we get him. And to be fair, if Liverpool or Liverpool come in, or HSV, who we just took Tariq off, going offering multi-million-dollar contracts, West Ham go in, Atletico or Dortmund, and he chooses there, so be it. I'll go for Jackal, the Austrian, right? In saying that though, for a guy who is this good, that well-rounded as a centre-back, even at 6'6", 11 pace, 11 acceleration, 13 pace, it ain't slow. It's slow, but it's not like, oh my God, slow. Because he's 6'6", and we signed Tariq, who's a physical specimen, to play alongside him. I think moving Inguez the right back, this guy coming in at centre back, Brazilian, can grow, will become homegrown, I think is very good. Now, the only thing I haven't factored in here is registration rise. How do we look with foreign players? I only got 2. Wonder who our 2 foreign players are. It has to be Cicelo and Inguez, right? Yeah, Cicelo and Inguez. So we're allowed 2 more. He's going to be 1. Now, with that being said, for Francisco Piquin, I think this guy's a future Brazilian international. I think we have to have a look at him. So we've got him in, bid, 64k a week, regular starter, which means Inguez would move the right back. Tariq, because he's got a decent left foot, would actually move the left centre back, right? And then that means that this guy will come in at centre back, which means we've got 2 guys who are 4-star either side, which is great because they're leading to, world-class players. And then we've got Tariq, who has potential to be, who's leading to potential to be a star at 3.5. And then Francisco Piquin, who's never played solidly at the level. And like Luis Fernando, who has come from Brazil and never played solidly at this level, has developed like a monster into 4-star. I think there's a way where Piquin comes in, has a good year, is a guy that can win me the league right now and develop into being a monster. And I think that's the thing. For 13 mil, there's also potential we could sell him on for 50 or 60 mil. I think we have to go Piquin, and I think he's very good, Francesco Piquin, right? But bear in mind, if he doesn't come in, we will go for Jackal, right, if it comes up, the Austrian, right? If he doesn't come in, we'll go the 18-year-old route. We'll give him the start of the year. Hopefully he develops into a monster, and he develops quickly. If not, Pimbele may get some more minutes, but at least that way we've gone down a route where we've got someone in that is going to be very good. Hopefully it's Piquin and he chooses us. It's raining centre-backs at Paris 13 Atletico. Another one, that's correct. Get the DJ colours out. Another one. Here we go. Francisco Piquin, he was wanted by a whole heap of clubs. We saw it there. Wanted by 11 clubs. Wanted by Benfica, Dortmund, Mönchengladbach. Bayern Munich really interested in him. Hertha Berlin, HSV, West Ham, Atletico, Getafe, Real San Sebastian was Liverpool, but they just signed Damian Lopez, who's a Mexican international. So they've pulled out. They've never made a bid. We went in for 13 mil, which is what he was transfer listed for. 14's coming out of the 19 million. Francesco Piquin is officially, in one click of a button, a Paris 13 Atletico centre back, which means we now have a new back four. Arsenal's Fernando to welcome him in. He's fantastic. Just get rid of this. Yes, go back to him here. And straight away, like I said, he just needs to work on the defensive positioning. He needs to work on the defensive positioning, get him in there, get the marking, positioning, and decisions up. Get him in. Francisco Piquin, in he comes. There he goes. The new back four with Inguez at right back, Piquin at centre back with Tariq, Senol, and Soselo. It is not bad at all, ladies and gentlemen. You've got a world-class left back and a world-class right back that are currently got in the semi-final of the Copa America. And then you've got Piquin, who can grow into being a Brazilian international, and Tariq Senol, who's already played 24 caps for Turkey at the age of 24 or 22, whichever he is. Look, if that team does not change, as long as we don't receive 150 mil from Man United or Real Madrid there, and, as long as we don't receive 90 mil plus from Liverpool or one of the English clubs that become interested there, in Bakayoko, so Chelsea, for instance, then that team there on paper is good enough to win the league. We were so close last year. That team's ready. What I'm going to do here, YouTube, is just in case there's another big signing on the outs or signing on the in or anything like that, we're going to leave this episode open, but if it gets towards the end of pre-season, nothing's happened, we'll just recap, show you what pre-season looked like with the new signings, but off we go. But we've been complaining we haven't had star talent at the back. We've been strapped of money. We're building a new stadium. The finances now look like this. It is getting scary. It's the lowest I've ever seen a balance come through at all. We've only down to 4 mil transfer budget, but look, at one point it was 80, now it's 12, but now we have a team that I think is ready to win the league. Not just, in the future. I think they can win it this year, as long as we concede less than 20 goals in the league this season. YouTube, we're back with another signing because we had to make a sale. And, well, let's start with the sale first. It was a guy that was unhappy. We're working towards him being happy. It was only about this transfer window away, so about 30 plus days away from being happy. His name was Beto. He was our backup striker last year, and I had no intention of selling him at all. He's been a very good backup player for us. He had a very good year in between when Mokoku was injured. I felt like I could rely on him in games to go score. He was consistent. The only thing against him was that he was on decent wage and and was 34 years of age. Now, when I did sign Beto, we went to sign Malo Gusto, if guys remember, or Gudo, the right back, who's at Barcelona. Malo Gusto, there he is, from Juve. He kicked up a fuss for the first time ever, saying, I don't want to be in a team with this guy because I don't like him. He wouldn't drop it, so we promised not to sign him. We were nearly, it was a year-long thing. We were just about away from it. And he turned around and said, I've only got a year on my contract. I want to leave. I said, well, you're happy here. You've been happy the whole time. And he goes, nah, that thing's still pissing me off. So he wants to leave. So I was like, okay, well, we listed him up for 3.5 mil, which was his transfer value. Had a host of bids, and Sporting picked him up. So we've had to sell him. We weren't happy to sell him, but we sold him. What it does mean is that we could bring in another striker. And, well, there was no one at 18 that I wanted. There's a 17-year-old that is unhappy at his club. And I'm just going to show you what's wrong with this game. If I go to here and I go to the short list and I go to strikers and we go to people that are there. There's a 17-year-old called Peter who's unhappy and wants to move to a stronger club. You put a bid in for 3.2 mil when he goes, I want to stay there because he doesn't want to move because he's under 18. Which makes no sense if he's unhappy that he wants to move to a stronger club, but then he wants to, not come in, which is, odd and weird. So, if I show you this, guys, in just a second as well, that I'm not talking smoke, doesn't matter that he's unhappy, but yeah. Now, let's get on to the player we have signed, which is Petar Jonovic, who is a Serbian under-21 player, is Partizan's best player. If you go to their actual thing here, he's not anymore because I've just taken him out from there. In terms of the teams that want him, there were a hot heat. There was Chelsea. On top of that, there was also Liverpool. There was AC Milan. All those sort of clubs were sniffing around. So we went in. AC Milan had a bid rejected for 6.5. We made a bid of 7, which has been accepted. It's 2.5 mil up front plus 3 or 4 mil over a 3-year deal plus a mil if he plays 50 games. 5% what he sells on for. What I like about him is, firstly, the interest shows that he must have a very good potential. Secondly, physically very well rounded. A lot of 14s, couple 16s, which is great. Good off the ball, great work rate, great technique, good teamwork, natural flair, decent determination. Also has a very good finishing, composure. So a lot of 15s and 14s, and they're all going to grow and be very well-rounded. He's also got very good first touch and dribbling for a young kid as well. And look, the only thing we really need to work there is decision-making. That is a glaring fault. Look, that will grow. He's also dual-footed, so means we can train him out wide on either side. He's a player that gives us flexibility. Yes, he won't become homegrown, but he will become a player that if he hits his potential to be as good as Mokoku. So in he comes. We are happy with that. I think that is a great signing. To lose Beto and then pick a guy up for an extra couple of mil that is way younger and has more upside is fantastic. Yet again, that's the issue with this game. Wants to leave to go to a club with a stronger club. There is no way a 17-year-old would be going from their home nation and then turning, I want to leave, and then turn around and go, well, actually, I'm not going because I'm under the age of 18. I want to stay here for my development. So, yeah. But anyway, here he is. Add him to the training camp. There's Elijah Penajovic. I think he's going to be an absolute sensational player. Of course, he's not already in the starting 11. That means transfer-wise, we're down to 4.45 mil after the sale of Beto and bringing him in. Got 53k in the wage budget. I think we're in a good spot. What do you think of him as a signing as well? I've had another issue, YouTube. Tossin has come to me and said he wants to leave on a free. He's had a bid from Sunderland and he wants to leave to go back and play in England because he's missing home. I find these happen more and more. He would be my ideal backup centre-back with Diallo and for him to retire because he's my all-time favourite player that I've ever used on Football Manager. Unfortunately, he doesn't want to do this. I've ended up talking and to him as well, and with them making a bid. I have, in the end, accepted 1.1 mil with 475 over 2 years, so 1.1. It gets 58k off the wage. Only problem is with this little money in the football club, to get a defender in is going to be difficult unless Isaias eventually sells from, what's it called there? Where are you, Isaias? Isaias at Spurs. Still not what he was wanted by a lot of clubs. Hasn't received a bid. So with that being said, that doesn't leave you really with too many options. So I think for the very first time in a long while, I might have to make a bit of a bold play and actually just get one of the kids ready to go. Now, he's got a calf strain, this kid, so he's out for the next couple of weeks. But David Yole has got good determination, okay mentals, and is fairly well-rounded and physically, but is well off the level. He is potentially a good centre-back, though, in the future. And if he hit his free start, it could be good to leading. There might be a world where this guy plays a lot of 19s football, but if there's an injury crisis, you might see this guy get a couple games throughout the year or rotate a couple of times. Second way that I'm also going to say that Kana can play centre-back, Diallo can play centre-back, Ingwes can play centre-back, Tariq Senul play centre-back, and obviously we've had the Olympics come around here. Francisco can play centre-back. So if you have a look at centre-back options and you take out, he's not even there on that list, Tossin, Ingwes, Picken, Senul, Kana, Pembele can play right back as well. Kana, as I mentioned, I've already gone over his name. So we would have enough cover to see Tossin go and not me rush out to buy one. But I feel like David Yole, in a perfect world, if we had to fully rotate, say we had a big Champions League game and we're storming it in the league, or those games where you can fully rotate in, there might be a world where David Yole might get a 45-minute stint. If he looks out of depth, we take him off. But if he in his depth, we'll see how he goes, because he's the only one that I guess we can fall back on as the fourth choice centre-back, which, look, it is what it is, but allows me to play youngster, so that's that as well. I don't see anyone else getting interest or bids. There is a big chance that Finnison gets a loan bid and Pennon gets a loan bid. Diallo might get a word of Bremen bid. Kim's wanted by Fulham, but we wouldn't sell. With that being said, I'm happy with how the squad looks, that I won't be making any changes to it unless something major happened. So with that being said, I'm actually going to end this part of the episode here as well. Tossin's going to go. I don't see a world where Tossin does not leave. He's wanted by Villarreal as well, but it makes no sense for him to go there, so he'll end up at Sunderland. 1.1 mil, 1.5 mil over time. I'm happy with that. It's sad because I want him to stay. It's sad because he's actually had a couple of good years here as well, even though last year his lack of pace was notable. As a backup with Diallo, he would have been fantastic. Now we leave ourselves maybe one centre back short, but in terms of the team, we're in a much better spot. We've obviously signed the likes of Picken, who is fantastic. We've signed the likes of Senol, who is just here, Tariq, coming back from international duty, who looks fantastic. They're the two leading ones. Obviously, sign Elijah up front as well. We've gone to a more of a younger squad. And if you have a look to recap the episode at the end of the season preview, we are now predicted to come second, not third. And that is because mainly our average age has come down from 27, 28 down to 24 in one window. We've cut out a couple of the older players that were declining and not defending well enough. And the game has now recognised that we've got a very good back four with 3 really good midfielders and 2 wingers and a striker. And the predicted lineup is the same what my lineup will be on match day 1 if injuries and everyone back from the Olympics is on time and as concerned. In terms of next episode, I'm actually not going to do the Trophy D Champions because we've been beat and been slapped up in the last couple of years. I could say that this could be the year that maybe we should do it because we're a bit better. But all my players, especially most of them, should be in the later stages of the Olympics, so I won't. So with that being said, I'm thinking what I am going to do is I'm going to come back for what is the draw for the Champions League and the Champions League start, but also go in an in-depth recap as to what's gone on there. And then the most notable league game there is obviously PSG at some stage. And if the league gets close, we'll give you a few more league games throughout the year as well. But in terms of season 11, it's our most exciting year to date because we have got some new players at the back, a bit of a younger squad, and maybe a bit more development incoming. We are maybe a little bit short at centre-back. Financially, this is the weakest point we've been in, and I expect us to be in the red by the end of the year. The game's telling me that within 3 seasons, we're going to be $157 million in debt. Something tells me we would get brought out by that stage at some point. And with that as well, as long as we get some very good prize money in the Champions League, hopefully we'll keep the club afloat as well. Till next time, I'll see you, thank you, and goodbye.